right away that we can have our executive session and enjoy you and celebrate with you in the free reception someday. Obviously it wasn't today. But we will continue on with our meeting so that we can get to those retirement recipients that we want to acknowledge, and then certainly the other thing that many of you are here waiting for. All right, so at this time, it is 7:41. We're going to call the meeting back to order. Our executive session has nothing to report, and if everyone would please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Raphael. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. For the audience in the room, please just be aware of the emergency exits to my right and to the audience left. Also, actually either side, right and left. This is new building to us for having these meetings, so now I have to familiarize myself where the exits are as well. In the event there's an emergency, everybody knows the drill. Please exit safely to the parking lot and wait for further instructions. Now we were on to our board consent agenda, item number C. Superintendent?
Thank you, President Felice. The administration recommends approval of board consent items reflected in schedules C1 through C9.
So we need a motion and a second for C1 through C9. We have a motion by trustee Flippin, seconded by trustee Barry. Thank you. Any discussion? I will make one comment. Will the Assistant Superintendent of Business be able to discuss with us the Treasurer's report just a little bit later in the agenda? Okay, very well. So then, any other questions on those items? Seeing no other questions, all those in favor, please raise your hands. Thank you. Seeing all hands raised, I will just say, Tech, I just need Tech here. We have one trustee on remote, but I do not see her. She left. So it's just the four. We do have a quorum. We have the four present, so we don't need this. Thank you. Never mind. Okay. Seeing all hands raised, the motion passes unanimously. Okay, got it? Okay. Item D, communications. Superintendent's report.
Thank you, President Felice. Talk about an awkward silence. Welcome, everybody. I'm really excited to present my superintendent's report. Just bear with me. A lot happened in the last few weeks, so I did want to go over some of the great things that have been happening.
May I just stop you for a minute? Is there any way we can turn the lights up? I can't even see the superintendent from here.
Well, I think people should be watching. It is a presentation.
You want them to watch the screen?
Correct.
Okay, so we're not.
All right, welcome again to our board meeting. I'm super excited to be here. I'm going to begin with, actually, hold on to the mic. With our final COVID-19 update, on May 11th, the federal government declared the pandemic over. We've continued to report our cases all year long. So since our last report on May 12th, we've had no new reported cases, which is a good thing. That said, I just want to remind everyone that the work is not over. There are still lingering effects of the pandemic, not in terms so much of health, but certainly mental health. Isolating people especially students, for 2 years, certainly has had some long-term effects that we're still mitigating in terms of trying to address achievement gaps and some of the conflicts that students have. So the work is not over. We'll continue working towards mitigating the effects of the pandemic. But ultimately, I keep reminding the community to keep yourself safe. Good hygiene is always just good hygiene. So continue practicing washing your hands and all those types of recommendations that we heard throughout the pandemic. But I'm happy to say that hopefully the chatter around COVID is over. Last week I had hosted a community circle with the superintendent in regards to the incident that happened in South Country. One of the things I want to emphasize that's a source of frustration for a superintendent and certainly a school board is the fact that we're not permitted to discuss incidents or matters regarding specific students or complaints regarding individual personnel And again, this is because of applicable law and district policy. And what we did was we tried to answer the questions that the community members who attended asked to the greatest extent possible. Again, the main reason we don't comment is because we're not allowed to. Again, by applicable law and district policy. On a more human level, we also have to respect the privacy of all the families involved. You got to remember that on either side of any equation, real people, real families, neighbors, community members. We owe it up to them, or owe it to them to really respect their privacy during these really tough times. And again, there's so many statements that as a superintendent I want to make to provide reassurances, but it becomes difficult when you're prohibited from doing that. So what we did is we basically refrained from responding to any social media posts. We kind of tell our kids to, be careful what you read on social media. It's not always truthful or factual. So no school district really responds to social media posts because, again, there's no beginning or end to it. Except to say that a lot of what the content on social media is false and untrue. What we did discuss was the application of our code of conduct, our restorative approach to school decorum, current character education initiatives, and initiatives and programs that will be implemented moving forward. Because it's very easy to talk about how we certainly respond to situations because we have a code of conduct, but the work really lies in being proactive to avoid incidents like the one that occurred here from happening in the future. The idea is always to diminish the probability that these things will happen by promoting a positive school culture and character education. It's also really important that we don't let incidences that are isolated tarnish the great things that are happening in South Country. And this is really what I want to speak about today. First and foremost, I'm going to talk about our character education programs. We have many programs that we're proud of that are currently happening. For example, K-5, we have a research-based program called Mind Up. Second Step for K-8 students, Y Trial Resilience, are all curriculum-based programs that help foster good character and culture of caring. For our teenagers, we have Teen Intervene that speaks specifically to substance abuse, so we provide counseling. Because again, a punitive approach to schools doesn't yield positive results. We're a learning institution, not a punitive one. And a lot of people will say, hey, kids don't know how to behave, kids make poor choices. But at what point we teach them how to make good choices? At what point do we promote a culture of kindness? And that's really where the work lies moving forward. We have restorative conversations and community circles with our students. PBIS, which is Positive Behaviors Intervention Supports, it's a global sort of approach to schools. We positively frame things and teach kids what they should be doing instead of focusing on the things they should not be doing. I'll give you a real quick example. Imagine that when you were sitting in a classroom, the teacher said, "Why don't you have your homework?" You felt bad about yourself, perhaps you wanted to, that prompted or was provocative, started a conflict. Versus a teacher walking around and acknowledging everybody who has their homework, and then reminding the class the importance of just keeping up with your work. These little sort of switches in the way we frame things is really yielding a difference, especially when we consider our current generation of children. And through our Generation Citizen projects, we want students to have voices and to advocate for themselves, which is another part of the puzzle. And another example of a sort of character-based program we have in our schools are Athletes Helping Others, where again, we foster kindness and students just being more involved in their respective communities. Future programs, we're looking to bring more character education assemblies and programs to students and parents. One of the things we want to sort of emphasize is try to get more community members out to some of our programs so they can kind of see what we're talking about in a more personal level. Next year, through our Patrick Hayes, our athletic director, we're going to be bringing Ambassadors of Compassion to Spellport. This is a nationally recognized program that pairs students, athletes, with younger mentors in the same building. Very similar to Athletes Helping Others, but sort of another manifestation of the same idea. And we're going to start engaging in South Country Pride lessons. One of the things that's effective is the explicit instruction of expectations. So what we want to do is start incorporating character education in our day-to-day instruction, so that all of our students hear the same message. This technique works for about 80 to 90% of students because most students respond to it well. This is what we call tiered interventions. Those students are considered tier 1. The majority of the kids will respond. Tier 2 kids require a little bit more intervention, and obviously tier 1, that typically represents about 5% of any population, certainly needs more and more sort of intervention. but we'll be implementing that in our secondary schools as well next year. Again, all with the goal of fostering a culture of caring. Someone once told me that people don't hurt the things they love. We have to get our students really to love school, feel like they belong, like they're welcome, that their voices matter. Mental Health Week was also observed between our last board meeting and this board meeting. And sometimes people my age will say that the new generation is not as resilient as we were because we didn't have things like seatbelts or bike helmets, cell phones. We kind of were on survival mode. But some of the challenges that children face these days, and adolescents and young adults, things like the pandemic, climate change, a post-factual world where the media and internet also are running rampant, civil unrest, a lack of faith in our government. I remember when I was in high school, government was kind of boring. I didn't think about it, and now it's kind of in our faces. Mass shootings is something that started in Columbine in 1998, and our country's been different ever since. Again, when I went to high school in the 80s, and I went to a school in the inner city that was deemed dangerous. In fact, it was deemed the 19th worst school in New York City. I never feared getting shot. Nothing. And so this is something that we have to really start thinking about. And of course, mental health and suicidal ideations, they're very real in our young people. When I was younger, I think, I'm not saying that people didn't have these thoughts, but certainly it wasn't as prevalent as it is today. So it's really important that we, and of course social media, which I think is eventually, I think the research is already there showing the adverse effects of social media. And we have to sort of educate our kids how to use it appropriately. There are a lot of benefits to having access to information, but certainly when you use it for purposes that are less than kind, I think it has adverse effects. So we hosted a mental health week here with an assembly program at Paul's War and Sarah Bernard, who's a social worker, a graduate of Belport High School, who's for our students, just about mental health awareness and the importance of being kind. That's basically the message we want to get out to our community, that it's really important that we all get along. I don't require, and never did as a building administrator, for all of our students to get along and to be friends, but I wanted to know at the very least that we can coexist peacefully, that we were not mean, and that if ever something happened, that everybody would have each other's back. And that's a culture we want to promote by having programs like this. We also had Ryan's story, which was hosted by the middle school. Ryan was one of the first cases of cyberbullying that resulted in a suicide. It's a very compelling story that was sort of formulated by the family of Ryan, and it's a character education program that speaks to forgiveness. If somebody does you wrong, talk it out. The power of forgiveness. Suicide prevention is achieved by self-advocacy and advocacy for others, which means empowering kids to say, I don't feel right, I need some help. And above and beyond that, empowering kids to identify with one of their friends or community members doesn't seem like they're right, to advocate on their behalf. Be an upstander, we know what that means. Apologize if you owe one, which is tough for a lot of people. And to believe that you're loved beyond belief. I think a lot of folks go into dark places, and if you feel like you're loved by any one individual, that can make a world of difference. And again, the message is that we need to be accepting, supportive, and kind. Moving on, we had really fortunate that I was able to attend this wonderful assembly program for Perfect Couples, which was also hosted by our middle school. Marion Blumenthal Lazan is a Holocaust survivor, which is remarkable because the Holocaust happened almost 80 years ago. So the fact that she was still around to interact with our students and tell her story was just an incredible experience to be had by everybody involved. And she was super engaging. She spoke for over an hour to 8th graders at the end of the day, and they all listened so attentively. But really what was most touching about her presentation, aside from just that first-hand sort of perspective of going through such an awful experience, when she was only 9 years old, and she remembers very vividly. And to give you perspective, at 11, she was finally released from the concentration camp and she weighed 34 pounds. So to go from there, being a published author, a public speaker, who's really, C6 has spoken to over 2 million kids throughout her career, is really powerful. But the most powerful moment was when she offered her student a hug, and they all started embracing. It brought me to, I got misty-eyed, I'll admit it, but it was such a sort of show of compassion and love between someone who was born in the 1930s and our students now. So it's a really rare opportunity that these students had, one I'm sure they'll cherish forever. A Again, the message was, we need to be accepting, supportive, and kind. Moving on to Civics Day at our middle school. I love Civics Day. I want to give a big shout out to Jackie O'Hagan, Elizabeth, everybody involved, Dr. Blasik, Mr. Goodman, Argati, Green, Swicky, Pettit, and Carreno, because what these kids do is they identify topics they want to talk about, and in this case, on this one particular day, this is the second day of Civics Day, the middle school, they picked topics that included the school lunches, vending machines, gun violence, drug use, Brookhaven landfill, smoking, study halls, and grade level lunches. What's amazing about this process is students research some sort of cause that they feel like needs fixing, then they speak to decision makers, and then they make a proposal. And they do it in such a mature way, and some of their actual presentations have yielded results. Certainly, there's crosswalks that's being painted in town. The ambassadors program, which is coming to the high school, is happening because of their presentations. But really, it's a fantastic experience. We even had one of the groups present entirely in Spanish, which is pretty awesome. We also had Civics Day at Belport High School. We had guest speaker Wayne White. He is a former teacher here at Belport High School, social studies teacher. He's currently the director of social justice for NYSIT, which is a big brother organization for the Teachers Association. But again, amazing presentation for our students. Their topics included late justice for like athletes and kids who stay for extracurricular activities, school safety, culturally responsive cafeteria food, which made me hungry because they said there should be more of a repertoire of food choices for the students, sidewalk safety, food stands, underage drinking and vaping, and the establishment of the Student Engagement Committee, which is a great presentation because these students were talking about how do we minimize the desire to cut class. And this is coming from students. What they discovered through their own research was consistent with what actual research showed. So I thought it was really remarkable and really impressed by the presentations. Big shout out to Ms. Budress, who kind of hosted today, Brady, Mr. Booth, Lloyd, Ms. Jolie, and Ms. Neff for guiding the students in this process. Really fantastic process. A great way to learn to self-advocate and be involved civically. Next, in terms of students who are doing great things, we hosted a Special Olympics at Belport High School, sponsored by Students Helping Others. Of course, a big shout out goes to Coach Rossi, the advisor for the club, Ms. Carlson, Ms. Fresh, Ms. Albrecht, Mr. White, Ms. Quadrali, Ms. Gibbons, for hosting this wonderful event that was inclusive and participatory. Kids had a fantastic time engaging in activities from soccer to long jump, to some frisbee throwing, and some other activities. Great afternoon for the students. And our students continue to do great things for our high school community. And just last week, our restorative athletes went down to Chris, I believe, and hung out with some elementary school students. And in fact, one of the moving up ceremonies this morning, one of the third graders said one of his best memories from being in Brookhaven Elementary School was when the high school athletes visited his classroom and helped them learn how to read. So big shout out to Mr. Watkins for leading his charge. It's really, and Patrick Cage, our athletic director. It really does yield dividends. And to elementary school kids, high school students are basically celebrities. More student achievement had the honor of attending Belport Middle School's National Junior Honor Society induction ceremony, where we celebrate scholarship, service, leadership, character, and citizenship. Big shout out to the building administration, Ms. Walsh, Ms. Cooley. What's really cool about this presentation is that the officers up there on the left did a fantastic job hosting the event, and they went digital. They actually produced a QR code to access the agenda, which I thought was very 21st century. So big shout out to the middle school and all of our new inductees. There were about 100 students inducted that day, which is really fantastic. And they also displayed all of their goals. And even at their young age, they had really specific goals, and it was really motivating to see. Moving on. We also had Belport High School Senior Awards night, which was a great time, great to celebrate student achievement all around. A great collection of students were here to celebrate their achievements, both academic and character-based. We had a valedictorian luncheon with Mr. Santos, which was really like a remarkable student involved with just athletics and academics. And we also had our Belport High School college signing celebration for all of our student athletes who will continue to play in college. All great things. Again, big shout out to the building administration, teachers, counselors, social workers, support staff, parents, everybody who helps in the success of our students. Another great day was Pride Month, which is June. I got to attend Patchogue's Pride Parade, which was a fantastic time. There was a lot of love in the air. It was great to run into students, faculty members, as well as the trustees. And again, be the rainbow in someone else's cloud. And really the theme of the parade in the Pride Month is that we need to be accepting, supportive, and kind. So really fantastic time. It was inclusive. I was happy to be a part of it. And again, running into students was pretty fantastic. Moving on. Be forewarned, the following is super cute, but I got to go to South Haven's pre-K prom. And yes, you can, it really was a moment. I got to enjoy the day. Mr. Genty, the principal, Ms. Norblick, who's the director of the program, and Ms. Beth Doyle. We had a fantastic time. The kids looked amazing. They were dancing, they were partying it up. It was just amazing to see and behold such wonderful things. And continuing with the cute theme, not to say that the high school students aren't cute, I'm just saying. They got the little preschool kids have a little edge on you. But I also got to read a book. I continue to look like a grandpa when I read a book, to some of the students at Brookhaven Elementary School. And there was such a fantastic audience. I spent almost an hour with them talking about science and all things related to the book. But one of the girls in the picture there holding a thumbs up was just asking such inquisitive questions. She was so bright. So I asked her, how did you get so bright? And her answer was, Netflix. True story. So, but she, disclaimer, she watches documentaries on Netflix. So it made sense. Moving up ceremonies, this is over at Brookhaven just this morning. So I just want to give a big congratulations to our third grade, Dr. Raymond, Mr. Calpaluso, all the great third grade teachers who participated. In this wonderful event. It was great to see the third graders go up to that stage with their certificates with such pride, and they're certainly happy to receive a cupcake each. I also attended Vernon Pritz's moving up ceremony this morning. More great memories by our kids. Again, super excited to see them moving up to Franklin Long. It was such a moment of pride for the students and the parents. So big shout out to Principal Mazziotti and all the third grade teachers who helped the students along. Franklin Long's fourth grade is just too big, so far we've had moving up ceremonies squared. I attended 2 ceremonies, one yesterday and one this morning. All fantastic. Kids did a fantastic rendition. This is a great day. They sang, they celebrated, they achieved their certificates. A big shout out to Ms. Brzezinski, Ms. Olberg, and all the fifth grade teachers for their guidance and for putting on such a wonderful moving up ceremony. We have number 3 tomorrow morning, along with Franklin's moving up ceremony. But I'm going to keep going. Out of order. Now we're going to move on to music students, which do a lot of fantastic things in our school district. In fact, they're a huge, huge source of pride for us. This was our pep band marching at the Memorial Day parade down in the village. Again, planting the seeds. I do have a fantasy of one day having a full marching band. But this pep band, and I saw a video, I was unable to attend, did such a fantastic job. They sounded awesome. So we should be really proud of our pep band. They may be small in number, they're loud in sound, so amazing. We also had a concert at Burn Prince, which featured an art show. So I do want to thank Ms. Richard, their art teacher, and Mr. Andrade, who did a great show. They played different instruments, ukuleles, they danced, we had a soloist, really great concert, super cute as well. I love to see the excitement in the kids. Unlike the high school students who are very stoic when they're up on the stage, the elementary school kids can't keep still, so they have to move, and so it's fantastic to see. But they sang, and they're amazing. Also, I had the privilege of going to a concert and art show at Brookhaven. So big shout out to Ms. Macarino, the art teacher, and of course Ms. Kasi, for putting on a great show. Multiple instruments, solos on the violin. We had a bass player, we had a drummer, and of course Dr. Raymond and Mr. Carluso joined in the singing for one of the songs. It was pretty awesome. So yes, great job over at Brookhaven. A lot of fun. We get so excited just to be there. Not only to see the excitement in the students' faces, but the excitement in their families' faces. Keep going. There's a lot of great things happening in South Country. Next, we have Frank P. Long's 4th grade concert. So what's really fantastic about these experiences is I get to see kind of the evolution of these musicians. You know, starting in 3rd grade, fourth grade, and so on and so forth, culminating in some of our select groups here at the high school. But this again, to watch these fourth graders play and manipulate these instruments really is a huge credit to their music teachers. In terms of art and Frank Long, just want to give a shout out to Ms. Hoffman, Ms. Romano, their orchestra teacher, and Mr. Rouse, their band teacher, for doing a fantastic job. In fact, so many kids participate in using their Frankie Long that their fifth grade concert is hosted at the middle school. So if you look at the picture of that chorus, it's like every kid in the building participates in music. If you really look at those numbers, it's fantastic. Because participation in music yields results in terms of academic performance. So big shout out to Mr. Giamono, who is here tonight, for his leadership in the chorus. Again, Ms. Romano in orchestra, and again, Mr. Rouse, band, for the fantastic work they do with their students. Now we move on to high school. First, I want to start with this slide with some of the artwork that was displayed in our art show. Really fantastic, and I really have to give a shout out to Ms. Gallagher, Ms. Black, Ms. Carano, Mr. Gowler, Mr. Valley, Mr. Payne, and Ms. Ruccio for the fantastic work they do with this inspiring students to really bring out their talents. I was so impressed by the artwork. This is something you can capture a small portion of it. You know, this is some of the photographs I sort of took when I was there, and I was super excited. But also, aside from the art show, we had 2 concerts, which were fantastic. I feel heartbroken that I missed the first concert. I was actually at another school event. But yeah, I've been so impressed by our student musicians. Our first concert number 1, we featured our jazz band, trumpet choir, 9th grade orchestra, string orchestra, a combined 9-12 orchestra, a symphonic band. Spring concert number 2, which for a lot of our seniors, was sort of the last time they performed as a collective. These are some of the seniors photos up there on the left, with wind ensemble, concert orchestra, mixed chorus, all which always really impressed me. I even ran into music alumni, Ms. Mariah Chavez, who's currently attending my alma mater, Cornell University. So really nice catching up. She's currently a sophomore there. I was just up there this last weekend for my 30th reunion, so it was nice to talk to someone who's attending the school now. So she's giving us some good representation up at Cornell University. But I want to give a shout out to Ms. Watson, Mr. Finnegan, Ms. Rittenberg, Ms. Valente. I'm saving you for last, Ms. Hartman, Ms. Watson, Ms. Hartman, and Mr. Finnegan for the fantastic work you do with our students. And of course, a big fat shout out to Ms. Hartman, who's our music chair, talented conductor, and just amazing all around. And now that I put you on the spot, I'm going to call you up because we're going to do some student recognitions. So please, a round of applause for our music chair, Ms. Hartman.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to begin by thanking our superintendent, Mr. Santana, and the Board of Education for their endless support of our music department. It really does make an impact on our students' lives every day in this district. So this evening, we will be recognizing 16 of our South Country musicians who were selected to participate in 3 of our music festivals this year. The festivals recognized this evening include LISPA, Long Island String Festival Association for grades 5 through 12, NISCAIM Suffolk, which stands for the New York State Council of Music Administrator Education in Suffolk County for grades 11 and 12, and the NISMA All-State Festival, New York State Schools Music Association for grades 11 through 12. Our students were selected for participation in these festivals based on their 2022 Spring NISMA Solo Adjudication scores. Their scores were ranked among students across Suffolk County, Long Island, and New York State. Students tonight, you'll be called up alphabetically. We ask that you remain standing up in the front for a final photo. Congratulations on this fine accomplishment. We are so very proud to have you represent our district. Kira Ballin. Kira participated in NISCAIM All County and NISMA All State. Hannah Carlson. Hannah participated in LISPA, NISCAIM All County, and was a NYSSMA All-State Orchestra alternate. Mackenzie Cutler. Mackenzie participated in Ms. Kane All-County and NYSSMA All-State. Marjorie Diaz Sanchez. Marjorie participated in NYSSMA. Penelope Gordon. Penelope participated in LISPA this year. Olivia Horn. Ms. Kane, All County, Olivia participated in. Leonie Caston. Leonie also participated in Ms. Kane, All County. Emma Kugel. Ms. Kane All County, and she was selected actually for 2 All-State participations. So she participated in NYSSMA All-State in the orchestra, but was also a band alternate. Liam Kugel. Liam participated in NYSSMA. Marissa Lasorsa. Marissa participated in NYSSMA. Alexandria Mikowski. Alexandria participated in NYSSMA. Emily Robbins. Emily participated in NYSSMA. Naomi Schindler-Schul. Naomi participated in LISPA. Ella Steckel. She participated in LISPA. Scarlett Van Wyen. Participated in LISPA. And Grace Zingenhouse. Congratulations to you and your families. I'm so very proud on behalf of South Country to have you represent us and see all of your accomplishments. Congratulations.
Yes, this will go on my Instagram.
All right. Big source of Clipper pride. Thank you all for doing your fantastic work and for your talents. I also want to give a big shout out to the students who played at our reception this evening: Hannah Carlson, Abigail Welch, Rachel Lee, and Mark Freeworth. Thank you all for coming. A couple more acknowledgements before we get to our recognition. First and foremost, I want to acknowledge 2 people who are really, really important to me. I'm about to complete my first year as superintendent here in South Country, and I really couldn't have had the success I've had without the help of 2 really special individuals: Sarah Schiapoletti, Christine Flynn, the district clerk, and also I wanted to show my appreciation for our district office staff. Sometimes when you think about the operations of schools, people wonder, what do they do in district office? But what I learned this year is they do a whole lot. So big shout out to our business office. We were on staff for like almost a third of the year, and somehow payroll got done, vendors got paid. But they did all that was needed to do, so big shout out to them, our facilities office, for really keeping on top of everything they keep on top of, our curriculum office, IT department, it's really, and human resources, of course. It's really been fantastic working with such a great team of people. Looking forward to our continued collaboration and work as we keep propelling this district forward. And now, the reason many of you are here, it's time to recognize our teachers and staff members who will be recognized for their recommendation for tenure this evening. So, yeah, round of applause. Tenure is a really incredible sort of honor. I've received tenure multiple times because I've worked in multiple districts. And each time that I've received tenure, it's always motivated me to work harder, because when a school district shows that sort of confidence in your ability, to feel like you're with that, to do your best. And so I want everybody who is being acknowledged tonight to appreciate the power you have to make a positive impact. It's a powerful position you're in. You're going to be interacting with hundreds, maybe thousands of students throughout your careers. And if you reach 5% of those students and make a positive impact, I call that a successful career. And again, the message to all of our new tenure recipients is, we need to be accepting, supportive, and kind. So I'm going to ask those tenure staff members to come up to the front so we can take a photo. I'll be calling you up one by one. So first, hands together for Brittany Ansalata at Gulfport High School. Akira Fernanda at Gulfport High School. Come on down. Tracy Coleman, Gulfport High School. Come on down. Jessica McGowan, Gulfport High School. Come on down. Paulino Trovish, Gulfport High School, come on down. April Ornstein, Gulfport High School, come on down. Caitlin Cooley, Gulfport Middle School, come on down. Kira Johnson, Gulfport Middle School, come on down. Christy Miller, Gulfport Middle School, come on down. Jennifer Gibbons, Ringer, come on down. Tina Olmacek, Kramer, come on down. Anthony Sorrentino, Kramer, come on down. Naomi Escobar, Frank Pinal, come on down. Joseph Yabona, come on down. Welcome to the floor. Lisa Hummel, Frank Pinal, come on down. Matthew Cox, Frank Pinal, come on down. Emily Vicente, come on down, thank you all. Diana Santos, thank you all, come on down. Melissa E. Satterley, thank you all, come on down. And someone who has the ability to make a positive impact district-wide by leading our guidance department, please put your hands together for Ms. Jenna Restivo. You guys will have to scoot together a little bit trying to get a photo. But big round of applause for all of our tenure recipients here. The future is bright. Really excited to work with all of you. Let's talk about embarrassing. Wow. My apologies. Wow. So the reason I left you guys for last is because you're amazing. Trying to say face over here. Oh my God. My apologies. But please, hands together for Federica Council. Christine Getzel. Christina Martin. And Dorca Moreno. That completes the class of 2023. My apologies. I will read you the slide before this, you guys. Well, thank you guys. That was a huge my bag. Wow. All right. So now we can move on. So these professionals are at the beginnings of their career. We're going to move on to people who are at the end of their career. So congratulations to all of our retirees. And hopefully I didn't leave anybody out. I'm going to go up to the podium, Principal Orca Rosa. And thank you. And our retirees from Bellport High School are Gaetano Azricani, Lorenza Duncan, Matthew Fernandez, and Allison Schilling. You guys can come on down while Ms. Della Rosa says a few words about you.
Thank you. Our first retiree this year is Gaetano Angersani. He retired earlier this year as a member of our custodial staff at Bellport High School. Mr. Angersani is a kind man who was known to surprise others with some baked goods every now and then. Actually, when I was appointed as high school principal, I arrived the next morning to a box of donuts and a card on my desk. I thank him for his service to the South Country community and wish him the best in his retirement. Our second retiree is Laura Duncan. She started with the district in 1995 as the secretary in the library. In 2001, she moved over to an assistant principal's office, where she has remained ever since. Recently, Laura shared with me that she has worked with approximately 10 different assistant principals over the course of her time at Bellport High School. I had the privilege of beginning my administrative career with Laura at my side. As a new administrator, Laura was a huge asset to me. I cannot thank her enough for all of her support and assistance. As I think back over the past 10 years, what stands out to me the most about Laura are the amazing relationships she built with both staff and students, and her love of her family. I hope that in retirement, she's able to spend some well-deserved time with her family. We truly are going to miss her. Matt Federn is retiring after 32 years in our district. He began at Bellport High School in 1991 and has taught a variety of physics courses over the past 3 decades. In addition to teaching, Matt has been involved with coaching middle school basketball and high school lacrosse, as well as serving as a class advisor for the classes of 1995 and 2001. He has been an involved member of the PTA and has served the union in many capacities over the years, including the high school's lead building representative. Matt is entering retirement with his wife of 25 years, Maureen, who is also retiring this year. They are looking forward to enjoying the fall in New York with the newfound freedom to do what they want without the confines of a work schedule. They are planning to relocate down to North Carolina in the near future and settle in the water, escaping the cold of the north. Matt cites his daily interactions with colleagues and students as the thing he will miss most after retirement. On behalf of the students and staff at Bellport High School, thank you for all you have contributed over the years. Allison Shalene is retiring from the South Country Central School District after teaching for over 29 years. She began her career here as a special education teacher at Frank B. Long Elementary School before transferring to Bellport High School 6 years ago. This year, Allison is retiring with her last class from Frank B. Long, as they are now seniors graduating as a class of 2023. She says that going out with them is an added bonus to retirement. She considers herself lucky to have been a big part of her students' lives and to have been someone who made a difference for them. Allison plans to start traveling again with her husband and has already planned some trips with plenty of downtime and relaxation. She knows that the best is yet to come. For her, just knowing that every day and night will feel like a Saturday is the most wonderful feeling ever. We wish her the best in her retirement and we'll miss her next year. On behalf of all your students and staff at Bellport High School, thank you for everything.
All right, congratulations to our Bellport High School retirees. Next, I'm going to call out Dr. Colson from Bellport Middle School. And retiring from Bellport Middle School, we have Joanne DiClemente. Triple Lee. And Sharon Payton.
Okay, thank you everyone for this opportunity to be able to talk about some of the retirees from Bellport Middle School. We'll start with Mrs. Deb Merrick, who actually is retiring as well. Deb Merrick is a family and consumer science teacher. She's actually served in the South Country School District for 20 years, and all 20 years have been in the Bellport Middle School. When asked what was her most fond memory, and she said that she had over her career, said that, you know, the hundreds of students that she's worked with, but there was a particular student that needed that support, was rather shy, quiet, and she was able to connect with that student and be able to embrace her. And she said she actually felt the anxieties go away and was able to go into the classroom to be successful. And those are the type of experiences that we're fortunate to have within the education field, and being able to work with students each and every day. And we just, again, we're thankful for Deb Merrick for her 20 years. She will be missed. And we also asked her what she plans to do in the future. And she was saying she wants to stay home and get tired of staying home, and then she's going to travel. So she said she's going to plan to play the piano, do some gardening, and some painting, and then she said she's going to go ahead and travel. So again, let's give her a round of applause. Our next retiree that is here this evening with us is Mrs. Sharon McGowan, and she has been with the district for 27 years. I think that's worthy of a clap. guidance office. She has worked 11 years at the high school. She's actually 12 years at the middle school and 4 years at Woodhaven Elementary School. So she's been able to serve in several buildings. When asked what was one of her most fond memories or most accomplishments this year, throughout her career, and she actually shared that seeing her children graduate from the high school and to be able to award them their performance was one of the highlights. One of the highlights for us that she does on a daily basis is that she takes care of all of her coverages. And if you can only imagine what that's like, it's like Sudoku times 10, where she can figure out what sections need to be covered, what periods, who to call, when to call. I think this year one of the records was 46, thank you. See, as a principal, you have to know where to go, where not to go. That's one of the rooms I stay at, and I let them take care of that. 46 coverages in one particular day, and she plans to spend time with the family, enjoying the time. And we want to, again, congratulate her on a very successful career at Bellport Middle School within the South Country School District. Also this evening is Miss Joanne DiClemente, who has spent 25 years. Let's give her a round of applause for that. And she's had 11 years working at Kramer Street Elementary School, 1 year at Franklin Long, and then the last 13 years in the Bellport Middle School. And at Terrible was one of her fond memories, being able to be a part of such a successful and talented team that she works with in making things happen. One of the things that I'm going to miss, and I'm sure Mrs. Saki, is that in the 7 years that I've been assistant principal, we have always come in under budget. And she's always like the first that she'll come in. Do we have it yet? And as soon as we get it, she starts working away on it. So that's something that we're going to miss, as well as her delicious brownies and baked goods that tend to put a little pounds on, but at the same time, it's worth it. So again, we want to wish her, she's going to spend time with her family, and we want to give her a round of applause. And our last retiree, who's not here this evening, which is Shuk Fu Lee, fondly known as Fran. She has worked 22 years in the South Country School District, and all 22 years she has spent in the Bellport Middle School. One of her fond memories is that she enjoys working with all the staff that she's worked with over the years. The thing that we're going to miss the most is that first section, at the end of the day, always has like a shine, almost like a smile, where I can always see when Fran is in and when Fran is not. Quiet, humble, hardworking, dedicated. We're truly going to miss her. She plans to spend time with family and travel as well. So we want to acknowledge that and give Fran a happy retirement as well. Staff that's retiring from the Bellport Middle School. Thank you.
So we will be calling the retirees back up for photo. All right, at this point, I'm going to call out Principal Rosinski from Franklin Long. We'll be acknowledging Laura Eaton.
I'm honored to be standing before you this evening to talk about Frank Pilon Intermediate School's retiree, Miss Laura Heaton. Miss Laura Heaton worked in the South Country Central School District for 24 years. During that time, she was a teaching assistant for 1 year, remedial math teacher for 3 years, and a classroom teacher for 20 years, all of which at Frank Pilon Intermediate School. Some of Mrs. Heaton's accomplishments include mentoring 6 student teachers, 3 of whom have since been employed in the South Country Central School District, participating in the SUNY Leadership Math Institute course at Old Westbury, working collaboratively with all of her colleagues at Frank P. Long, attending Teachers College Saturday Reunion at Columbia University, and attending numerous professional development workshops with teacher and author Nancy Atwell, who inspired Mrs. Heaton's teaching of writing. Congratulations, Mrs. Heaton. We wish you all the best in your retirement, and you will be greatly missed.
From Kramer Kingdom, I'd like to call up Principal Clark. We'll be recognizing Ms. Ida Timmons.
Hi, I know I speak for the entire Kramer Kingdom community when I say this is one of the days we all knew would come, but I don't think we ever really wanted to believe it or accept it. Because to imagine Kramer Street Elementary School without this woman who has served the community for 21 years, all that period. It's terrifying. Honestly, it's terrifying to think of the school without her. This is a person who went well beyond the call of the school social worker. This is a person who canceled her doctor's appointments to get others to theirs. This is a woman, when she heard that family didn't have a mattress to sleep on, or kids were sleeping in bad conditions, she spent her weekends going around getting the families what they need. She's a person that whenever she heard there was no food in the house, she didn't go home at the end of the day until she was sure she had secured provisions for the family. How do I know this? Well, I found most of it out after the fact. Other people tell me, because she's the most humble person in the world. She never did anything for nobody. She just does it of her love for people. This is a woman who has spent her weekends and summers meeting with our families, meeting with our students, just so they could feel the love that they get going to school year. And all this is just a small part of what she has done for the staff, the families, the students of this district. How great is her impact? Well, last year, the town of Brookhaven presented Ida Timmons with the Outstanding Woman in Social Services Award for the town of Brookhaven. Not only has she touched thousands of lives, I know for a fact that people are alive today because of her care. You won't find a single person in the last 21 years who's been affiliated with Kramer Street School or there today who she hasn't given to and made their lives better. Ida, yeah, you have an affiliate position, but there is no way you can ever be replaced. You have been so much to so many, always putting everyone before your own personal needs. And I speak on behalf of the entire Kramer Kingdom. Thank you for being you. Thank you for everything you've done.
I'd like to call Dr. Raymond from Brookhaven Elementary School. For my slide. About that. So today we're honoring Kurt Hell and Michelle B., retirees from Brookhaven Elementary School.
I've had the pleasure of knowing Michelle over the past 9 years, but in her 20 years of service to our district, she's served multiple roles. She's worked in the technology department, she's been a teaching assistant, she's been a teacher of multiple grades, but I think of her probably proudest moment is being a parent of 2 South Country alum. I know in terms of Michelle puts her heart in everything that she does. I've had the privilege of seeing her supporting students as a math specialist, but she teaches them more than just math facts. She builds their confidence. And with that, she helps them see themselves things that they do not see in themselves at that moment. Thank you, Michelle, for always seeing the positive in every situation, not just for our students, but for all staff. We wish you all the best in your retirement, and I know personally I will miss you terribly. Congratulations. Mr. Kurt Helm is not with us tonight. He's busy working at Brookhaven, but I've had the pleasure of working with Mr. Helm over the past 5 years at Brookhaven. He's a master carpenter, and he has been a dedicated worker in our custodial department. He always has a positive, can-do attitude, and he always wants to support staff as well as students, and just getting our school ready for every event that we have. In his retirement, Mr. Helm will be relocating to North Carolina, where he's looking forward to a different pace of life and spending time with his family. We wish him all the best in his retirement.
Thank you, Dr. Beck. Thank you, Dr. Raymond. And finally, we have one more retiree from our district office who could not be here today. Her name is Kathy Bagley. Kathy Bagley has been with our district for 20 plus years, handling benefits from our business office. She's a fantastic and knowledgeable woman. Her services will certainly be missed by all of us at our district office, and we want to wish you well on her retirement. And at this time, so I do this to you, I'd like to call all our retirees up again for a quick photo. We'll run her again. Come on back down, get on the floor for all of our 2023 retirees. Congratulations once again, Ms. Weed just shared with me that when she was recognized for tenure, they omitted her name too. So she's come full circle. So thank you all, congratulations. Finally, keep informed the members of the public who are here. Visit our website. Basically, there's a community portal for community members who want to receive district correspondence via email. There is also the Superintendent's Corner. If you click that link, it opens up the Superintendent's Corner, which is updated on a monthly basis. My contact information is there, as well as my Twitter feed, as well as my weekly update I provide the entire district. So you have access to information at your disposal. And thank you all for your commitment to the South Country School District. Congratulations to our tenure recipients, our music students, and our retirees. That concludes my superintendent's report.
Pat, they all abandoned you. Good night, everyone. Safe home. The boring part of the meeting will continue. And that brings us up to the trustee and advisory committee reports. Gary, do you have anything to report?
I do now.
We'll start start with Mr. Raphael. Okay. Vice President Hayes. Yeah, I'm with you. Not tonight. We did too much talking tonight. Okay, this brings us up to the public commentary for the agenda items. And since we have one card that references, okay, we'll move on. Thank you. Items for discussion, item F, PK registration. Mr. Superintendent?
Thank you, President Police. One of the things we're contemplating, we're almost at the 90 mark for students who have pre-registered for our pre-K program. I wanted to briefly discuss the idea of drawing the lottery or closing out the registration date to afford all those families the opportunity to attend our preschool program. Everyone that's registered thus far, registered within our timeline that was described in our website. And so I wanted to see if the board would entertain shutting down the, or having the lottery, which would effectively just grant everybody who's registered thus far a seat in our pre-K program June 30th is what I'm proposing.
And then at that point, others who apply would go on a waiting list. First come, first served?
That is correct. There are still some remaining slots, so those slots would have to be filled first. Once we hit the 80 mark, yes, there would be, the 90 mark for the full day program. There's still spots available for our PM program and morning program, but they would have to go on a waiting list for the full day program.
Right. So just a question of council. This is just an advisory. We don't need a resolution for this, just a authorization to have the superintendent move forward with proposing ending, and cutting off the registration date on June 30th. Do you have a question?
Clarification. There's a little feedback from the mic, so maybe point out there that I couldn't hear. Are there 90 people who've already registered for full day as of now?
No, we're at about 83, I believe.
So, June 30th, that list will be closed.
Correct.
And if there are any spots still available in the 90 for full day, that will be by lottery for anybody that comes in after June.
So that's what I wanted to discuss, whether or not we take the approach where it's just first come, first serve, and then we go to waiting list, or we do a lottery for the remaining spots.
Thank you for clarifying this.
It does seem like the people who've already registered should enjoy being registered. And then, so we wouldn't do a lottery for all registrants. It would be just for those that go beyond the 90.
That is what I'm proposing, yes.
Well, going back to what I thought you said, is on June 30th, we'll know how many people registered. And if it's less than 90, all those people will have a seat for full day.
That is correct.
Okay, so then come July 1, there are a few seats left, and people will be registering over the summer. Will those people be, all of them be by lottery?
So my recommendation in terms of thinking the process through is really, I think, we do have a registration window that we post. So those families that did their due diligence to register their children on time, I do think should have access to the program. What happens, or the risk we run, is that come July 1st, we decide to make that the date the lottery starts. Some families who register well in advance that they may run the risk of not getting a spot in the elementary school, in the preschool program. So that really is my concern. It's more of a human perspective or coming from the perspective of a parent.
So let's go back to the date when registration closed. You had it open for a certain period. You had it open for a certain period. It closed on some date that somebody has. And so the people that registered as of that day would be the ones who got the guaranteed seats in full day.
Correct. That's what I would propose.
So is there a difference?
Well, no, so the way pre-K programs work, it's open enrollment. You can enroll your child at any point during the school year. We had a window of registration that we posted and we advertised. So my sentiment is for those families who did their due diligence to register their children within that window should get first sort of opportunity to get those seats. And we either decide whether or not we hold those seats guaranteed if they register within that window and have a lottery for everybody else, or we simply wait till June 30th to see if we fill the 90 spots, and if we don't, then there's no discussion, everybody gets a seat.
You're asking for guidance about
Correct.
whether people who have registered as of tonight
Right.
will be guaranteed seats because they registered during the window that you had it open. Okay.
June 30th is the date.
Well, no. The registration window is closed. So, but enrollment in preschool programs is year long. Anytime a family moves into a school district, you have a right to register your child. So that's open. However, we designate a period of time where we have preschool registration and we advertise. That window opened and closed a few weeks back.
That was what I was trying to clarify. When that window closed some time ago,
Correct.
there were a certain number of people who had registered for the full day program,
That's correct.
which is well under the 90 limit that we have.
Correct.
Okay? So, for people who were registered as of when the window closed,
Right.
those would be guaranteed a position.
Correct.
And then, has anybody registered since the window was closed until today?
They have, and we still haven't hit the full capacity yet.
So you're allowing them in on a first come, first served basis.
That's what I'm discussing.
Well, that, in order to have consistency, if they're allowed in on a first come, first served
Right.
after the window closed, why wouldn't that just continue until all 90 seats are full?
And I'm okay with that proposition. In the past, we've done lotteries. Typically, we don't get many more families above and beyond the 90. But I think in terms of a process, I think it should be, you have a window of time that we advertise so that we can process these applications. And if in that window of time you surpass the 90, then perhaps we entertain a lottery. But I think in sort of just to honor the efforts of those families, I'd be remiss to deny access to a family who registered, way before the deadline, and then not have a spot in our program.
But we're not talking about the ones who registered as of the date the window closed. They're already in.
They're not, nobody's in right now. So we're gonna look to see whether the agreement mandates a lottery. If not, my proposal is that we sort of just honor the families that have registered already so that they have access to the program because they, again, registered on a timely basis. Trustee Barry just sharing. We're going to look at the RFP, which is our sort of proposals, make sure that's allowable. If it's allowable, it seems like the consensus is that if you're already registered and you're in the program, if there's remaining seats, we'll fill them at a first come, first served basis, and then anybody beyond the 90 mark would be on a waiting list.
I have no objection to that. Anybody have some objection?
All right, thank you, trustees.
All right, that brings us up to board consent agenda item on curriculum, item G.
The administration recommends approval of curriculum items reflected in schedules G1 and G2.
Need a motion and a second for G1 through G2. Motion by Vice President Hayes, second by Trustee Barry. Thank you. Any other comments? Seeing no comments, all those in favor, please raise your hands. Seeing all hands raised, motion passes unanimously. That brings us up to H, board consent agenda item for personnel.
The administration recommends approval of personnel changes reflected in schedules H1 through H9.
Can I go through each one separately? Oh, each one there, okay. These aren't listed out individually. all the items on page 1. Okay, we need a motion for H1 through H9. Motion by trustee Barry, seconded by trustee Flippin. Any other questions? Seeing no other debate, all those in favor, please raise your hands. Seeing all hands raised, the motion passes unanimously. Brings us up to I, board consent agenda item for business.
And this is quite the list, but the administration recommends approval of business items reflected in schedules I-1 through I-77.
And again, we need a motion. Motion by trustee Barry, seconded by Vice President Hayes. Any other discussion? No other discussion? All those in favor of item I, 1 through 77, please raise your hands. Seeing all hands raised, the motion passes unanimously. That brings us up to public commentary for non-agenda items or agenda items. And we have one card.
And just before the public commentary, there was a couple of gifts that were donated to the district that I want to acknowledge in the last consent agenda. But I want to acknowledge donations from Donors Choose, to the Santos, and Miss Christie's class at Franklin Long Intermediate School. Donation of $500 from Donna Brower, to the Christopher Brower Memorial Scholarship, and a donation of $500 from the Suffolk ASBO, which is the Association of School Business Officials, for another $500 scholarship. Thank you.
I just need the narrative on the public commentary. Oh, I have it. All right, public commentary will occur 2 times during the meeting, first in the beginning, second for agenda items only, second at the end of the meeting for non-agenda items. Comments from each speaker are limited to 3 minutes. Total time for the public session is limited to 30 minutes. Comments relating to a personnel matter or individual students will not be entertained in public. Public commentary is a time for the board to hear comments from the public, not a question-answer period between the board and the public. If asked, informal questions requiring short answers will be addressed. However, the board cannot enter into any dialogue with the speaker during the public commentary. District residents who seek additional information will be guided to an administrator who will address their questions or concerns. For more information, please see our guide to meetings. And with that, we have one card submitted by Barbara Schatzman, a resident of Bedford. Schatzman, would you step to the podium? Yes.
Thank you. I was going to address this topic several times in the past, but scheduling difficulties precluded it. So my topic is the April 5th board meeting. It was 2 months ago. I am not concerned with what happened at the meeting, who spoke at the meeting, the agenda of the meeting. I'm just upset that there was a meeting on April 5th. When I saw the posting on Facebook that there was a meeting, my first reaction was, no, this can't be. It was the first night of Passover. The thought of the district having a meeting on the first night of Passover was very upsetting to me. I spoke to some people about it, some friends, and they said, well, Barbara, don't get upset, it's probably an oversight, because they wouldn't be that inconsiderate. Unfortunately, she was wrong. Because I went and I checked the district calendar, and on the calendar, April 4th, it said, Board of Ed meeting, first day, which should have said first night of Passover. In the past, when I was on the board, I don't know if it's still done, the calendar preparation was a long and long process, and people would check it, and people would make sure there were no conflicts with activities in schools, or meetings, or I have read some of this down, and performances. So there would be no conflicts, if possible. And obviously, a conflict with the first night of Passover was okay on April 5th. I'm so upset about this, I'm just going to say. I think the people who formulated, I know it's a lot of people, checked and approved the calendar were irresponsible and insensitive regarding this. The fact that it was noted on the calendar was obviously not an oversight, makes it more egregious to me. I'm not sure why it happened. I don't know why anyone didn't think this was okay, and I hope it doesn't happen in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Shopsman. The superintendent would like to respond to you. Thank you.
So I agree, and I think you should be upset. And so I can say that, for example, our Board of Education meeting dates have already been established for next year, and we were really careful to make sure they didn't conflict with any religious holiday. So it's not going to happen again. I was especially sensitive to this because both my children identify as Jewish, my mom is Jewish, and I know the importance of Passover and some of the other holidays that people of the Jewish faith observe. So certainly it's a cause of reflection. But like I said, I don't think it was purposeful or malicious. I'd say that with a certain amount of confidence. We did feel badly about it. In fact, when we came up with our meeting dates for the subsequent school year, that's 23-24, we made sure again that there were no conflicts with any religious holidays. But I really appreciate your comments.
Thank you for responding. I never thought it was malicious. I just thought it was responsible. Thank you.
No, and I'm sorry. I apologize.
Thank you for your comments. Okay, closing remarks by board members. Anybody?
I just wanted to obviously congratulate the tenured professor, tenured faculty, as well as to express my appreciation for those who are retiring and have served the school district so well for so long. That's all.
Thank you, Trustee Barron. Trustee Flippin? Trustee Hayes?
Last week, I had the pleasure of attending both Civics Day and also the assembly at the middle school where the Holocaust survivors spoke. And also at the high school, the evening where they announced various awards. I was brought to tears every time, and I've got tears in my eyes again tonight because of some of the retirees and the tenure appointments. It takes a lot to make me cry, but let me just say that part of what brought tears to my eyes during the award ceremony for the students was to see the math and science awards and the number of female students that were represented. And I come from an era where girls didn't have that opportunity. And not only were they not given the opportunity, they were actively discouraged from pursuing these types of courses. So in my lifetime, I've now seen a sea change in this school district, and I'm very grateful for that. And I thank a lot of our retirees for being part of making that change, because I saw faces in the audience tonight of teachers that my children had, and I know the type of environment that has been positively impacted by them. And I expect to see that same kind of change go on with people who've really been given tenure. So thanks for letting me express that. It's been very meaningful to me these last couple of weeks.
Thank you, Vice President Hayes. I would be remiss if we didn't acknowledge the nearing the close of our school year with our new superintendent, and also 3 new board members to the Board of Education. The 3 new board members came on just after we hired Superintendent Santana, and gelled with the remaining board members, the 4 of us who did hire Mrs. Santana, and really came together in a way that has only benefited this school. and all the programs and all the initiatives that you wanted to bring forward. I can't thank you enough for your willingness to be in the buildings, to address the issues that were pending over the summer. You took time out of the summer months as you were acclimating into your new role to meet with parents, to meet with students, to meet with faculty, and really understand the true benefits of this district and the shining stars in this district. And you really did make it a personal mission of yours. And I am eternally grateful for that. It's a shame that people who retired tonight won't be able to enjoy the rest of your successes. But your superintendent reports each week highlights absolutely everything that happened between meetings. And I do think they are positively received in our district. And your Friday messages continue to inspire. So this being the last meeting of our school year, and before we set our reorg meeting in July and start another school year, I just want to, on behalf of the entire Board of Education, thank you, Mrs. Santana, for joining our district, for bringing your love to this district, and also encouraging kindness and acceptance. It's well received. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I'd love to talk. You've left me a little speechless. So I'm just going to say that I feel super fortunate to be here. I feel like I've been here forever. I don't mean that in a negative way. This district is like family to me. I care about all of our students, no matter where you live in our geographic area. I care about you, and I love them, and I can't wait to continue to see this district grow. I pledge to work my hardest to really propel this district forward, to meet challenges when they come. And I also feel really fortunate to work with such a great team of trustees that represent different points of views and perspectives. But unlike sometimes what we see in politics, somehow we come together, we find commonality in what we want, and we may disagree in how we get there, but ultimately we find consensus. And that's a credit to the team, your open-mindedness and your collaborative nature of what you do. But I'm thankful for all of your leadership, and I mean this from all the trustees, your candor, your ability to talk to me, and hear me out. It really has been a fantastic year. I have no regrets. In fact, this is kind of the best thing that's happened in my career, so I'm looking forward to continued success. And thank you to the community members, Ms. Webb in the audience, and other members of the audience for their support. I really feel like everything, all of my experiences throughout my life have prepared me to sort of lead this district. So I feel fortunate to do it and pledge to continue to work hard, to spread joy and love. Thank you.
Thank you. What's up? Something's going on?
I tried to communicate with you. We have two of the new teachers here that were just hired. I didn't know. I wanted to introduce them to the board.
Oh, by all
They're
means.
here. Ms. Dern, special ed in the back.
All right, come on down, Ms. Dern. You guys were disappointed. It was hidden in the agenda among the
Personnel agenda.
It was a big agenda, and the text that was trying to send didn't go through yet.
Oh,
And,
okay.
Ms. Olson, math.
Yes. So Ms. Dern's been joining special education, and Ms. Olson's been here for a year, doing fantastically in mathematics. Super enthusiastic. I met with her, and super impressive. Actually, I met with both new teachers. So welcome to the South Country family. Just want to keep you guys waiting. Congratulations.
Thank you to your family for being so patient. I just figured you liked board meetings. You do. Good. Okay, so with that, is there anything else that we missed? I know we didn't hear from you on the treasurer's report, but I'll call you. I have to come in tomorrow anyway, and we'll just go over that, and if we have to report anything at the next meeting, we shall. All right? With that, can we have a motion to adjourn, please? Motion by Trustee Barry, seconded by Trustee Flippin. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. We are now adjourned. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. We're sorry.